Good afternoon, everyone. Greetings from the Institute of Global Professional IGP Bangladesh. Greetings from the Institute of Global Professional IGP Bangladesh. Thank you all for joining us and staying with us till the end. Honorable knowledge seeker, today I am your host for the afternoon. My name is Hirani Sesa Choudhury and I am from Bangladesh. Dear knowledge seeker, I am proud to be associated with IGP as a global member. IGP is a social and the ISO certified international training institute. In 3 years, we already served 3 million knowledge seekers from 100 plus countries. IGP is internationally recognized and globally accredited. We are connected to more than 250 plus profession and 4,500 organizations. Institute of Global Professional IGP is the training faculty for skill development which was founded in 2020 and is generating competencies to meet demand in the global labor market by providing professional qualifications. The Institute of Global Professional is an educational institute that provides social and global recognized and reputable. We serve student and community research providing holistic social work and education. We believe that it is not effective to increase one's skill just by acquiring form of education. So we provide effective training and consultation to generation all over the world. IGP is one of the famous online institutes from all over the world. Our vision is education is not a business product, it's a part of our human rights based on our vision. We are trying to reach all corners of the world for free webinars, seminar, courses, awards, quiz competition, mentoring, and counselors. On the other side, we are also trying to serve more than 100 premium services for free, like its own portfolio website, resume builder, cover letter, motivation letter, and wellness platform. We have to empower you to learn to meet the expectation and dreams and become highly skilled people. We implement several trainings, programs, webinars, and offline online courses for youth and learners by professional trainers, speakers, and coaches. We ensure excellent and in-depth instruction. We arrange with qualified trainers, speakers, and instructors. We extend free services to more than 3 million knowledge seekers in the last 3 years. We have affiliation with universities and organizations in 70 different countries. Virtual moon signing with many colleges and organizations have been accomplished. We are working to create a legendary generation of future scholars and citizens who will be accountable. Spreading knowledge is crucial for the Institute of Global Professional. We believe that knowledge is love, light, and vision. So we try to understand the needs of today's generation. We serve them with good research and practice methods. We must have a genuine concern for the learners. We present more diversity, growth, and innovation are required. To lead a session with professionalism, passion, and integrity, ISP members are committed to offering effective base quality service and continual improvement so that individuals who seek information can improve their skill levels and value. Before we move to the next, let me remind you don't forget to share, tag, and mention your face in the comment box. Your support is very valuable to us. Thank you. Moving to the next, with your continuous support, we already completed 1,369 webinars successfully. And at present now, we are going to start our 1,370 and program name is Getting Things Done Technique. And today we have our speaker from Pakistan, Sir Asif Hazim. He is a founder, ISPT Pakistan, and director of Azim Commerce College. Now, very important moment for me to invite our speaker to IGP with his presentation. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Uh, Sir, please give some description about yourself. Then you can start your presentation.
Yeah, myself Asif Azim. I'm from Pakistan. I completed my master's in economics, and it's been almost 23 years I've been attached to the education field. I have diversified professional work experience of around 14 years. So, and it's my passion to share my learning, whatever I have learned so far. And today I would like to present getting things done technique so that the viewers can also understand how the things can how they can streamline their work, or how they can work efficiently.
Okay, sir, can start.
Thank you so much. So, dear viewers, today I would like to present on getting things done technique. So, as I just explained, I've completed my master's in economics from University of Karachi, and I'm also a certified project management professional from Virtual University of Pakistan, and I'm a certified NLP practitioner, that is neuro linguistic programming. I have 13 plus years, and in fact now 14 years of professional work experience. I have worked in different industries. I have worked in IT industry, I have worked in automobile industry, and I have worked in some other in services industries as well. And as I just said, I have almost 23 years of teaching experience. I have my own institute, and I have the experience of teaching in different renowned institutes here in Pakistan. And I'm also serving as an advisor at CASET, that is a society of personal and professional trainings, since 2019. So the objective is quite aligned, as my vision. My vision is basically to eradicate poverty and illiteracy. So whatever the opportunity I get myself connected with those organizations. I try my best to serve. I try my best to serve the society in whatever the capacity I can do. And I'm also a co-author of the book Business Communication, and fortunately I'm also writing a complete book on the business communication that will be published sooner or later. I need your prayers. And now I would like to present you on the getting things done technique. That is basically the art of stress free productivity. Actually, what happens if you really want to grow, if you have a vision, if you have a plan to do something in your life, so what happens, you get many things on your plate. You have lots of items, you have lots of tasks on your plate, and most of the times it happens that you are thinking, you are doing something but thinking of something else, so that you can get stress. So the objective of this presentation is you should know the art of stress free productivity. You should know, I will try my best to let you know, and I'm sure at the end of the session you will be able to understand how you can do stress free productivity. So the getting things done is not about getting things done. So it's a surprising statement, actually. That is basically getting things done. It's not how you can do, how you can get all the things done by others. It's not like that. Actually, it's about being appropriately engaged with what's going on. That means whatever you are doing, how much you are engaged with that task at that moment. So appropriate engagement is the real key here, right? Appropriate engagement there means you are doing something, and how much focus, how much attention you are giving to that work. That's basically the main thing. So getting things done is not only getting things done, it's actually your appropriate engagement. That is the real key here. I mean, uh, you can give your 100%. How you can give your 100%, that's basically you will learn throughout this webinar. So if you do not pay attention to what has your attention, you will give it more attention than it deserves. So I'm sure you must understand. So if you do not pay attention to what has your attention, so you will have to give it more attention than it deserves. So what's the message here? The message is here, you should give the due attention to the task. Whatever the task you are doing at that moment, you need to give the due attention. You should not be thinking of something else. And it happens with most of the people that they are doing something, they are involved in doing something, but unfortunately they are thinking of something else. So what happens, their minds actually get engaged with some other task, and they become unable to give their best. So in this webinar you will be able to know how you can give your best. So what is getting things done? That is actually a technique. All right, getting things done technique is a self-management method developed by David Allen, in which you record all your personal and professional tasks in to-do list. So one of the most basic element is you need to jot down, you need to write down all your tasks, whether it be your personal or professional task, but you must have a to-do list. So excuse me, getting things done technique, it's a self-management method, right? That is of course explained by David Allen. So since you no longer have to expend any energy on remembering these tasks, your mind is free to concentrate on the task at hand. How it's possible? Actually, this is the objective of this webinar. You should know, if you are doing something and thinking of something else, that's actually the distraction. So the technique tells you, step number one, you need to write down all your tasks, whether it be your personal task or your professional task. You need to write down all the tasks in a to-do list. You must have a to-do list in any form. You may be a notebook, you may have a spreadsheet, you may have something like online you have a tool where you record all your tasks. The GTD method operates with the belief that more information you are mentally keeping track of, the less productive and focused you are. So this is a message for you. If you are operating with more information you are mentally keeping track of, the less productive and focused you are. Instead of relying on your brain, instead of relying on the remembrance, instead of relying on the memory, the GTD methodology encourages you to store all of your work information in an external organized source of truth. So what is that external organized source of truth? That may be a to-do list, that may be a notebook, that may be a spreadsheet, that may be a Google sheet, that may be any sheet where you, but the objective is you must write down all your to-dos. You should not depend on your memory. If you depend on the memory, you will keep on thinking and that will give you stress. So that is basically the art of stress-free productivity. So the first message is you must have a to-do list where you can record all the things. And so what are the benefits of this GTD technique? uh, Reduced stress. So the most important, right, you will have, you may actually you have, you will not have a stress maybe, but to say you will have a reduced stress, increased personal and team productivity. These are the benefits you are going to enjoy if you really apply the GTD technique in your life. Better communication, increased productivity. Your productivity will increase actually, right? you, and a secret, I'm telling you a secret, you will be doing less work and you will be more productive. Trust me, I'm telling you. If you really apply this GTD technique, a mutually beneficial relationship between the company and the employee. This GTD technique helps you improve your relationship with the organization. It's a key term. The system ensures that you get all your tasks done on time and gives you a single organizational system for all your projects, both personal and work related. But you need to understand the system. In this webinar I'm telling you the system, the procedure of the getting things done. So the step one, as I said you in the previous slide, that is you must have a to-do list. You must write down all your to-dos. Some steps to start using GTD. How you can, this is a basically a general step. That means it's not related to actually the book written by David Allen. It's actually the extraction. It's some thoughts. Do a brain dump of all the things that are on your hand or scattered around your life. For example, as I tell you, you should have a notebook like this. You can have any notebook where you can write down all your to-dos. You should not think of anything. The step one is you need to write down all the tasks, whether it's be your personal, whether it's be your professional, whether it's important, whether it's urgent, it's not urgent, anything. So the step number one is you need to write down all the tasks. And what is number two? Process what you have captured into clear and concrete action steps. So what is it? You need to define action item against each to-do list. There means what is the next action, right? For example, um, you want to complete your master's degree, so that's a complete project actually. But you will have multiple subjects, so you need to write down the subjects you have, and against each subject you have different chapters, so you need to write down the chapters then. And then in each chapter you are learning something, so you need to write down that you are learning this topic. You should give time to that topic. And what should you do then? You actually need to give your 100% of your brain to that topic. You should not think of something else. For example, you are learning accountancy, so what you should do, you should actually focus 100% on your accountancy. You should not think of something else. So step number two is process what you have captured into clear and concrete action steps. Number three, organize your task into categories such as work, personal, errands, etc. You need to define, you need to categorize, you need to um, I'm not saying you need to keep a separate track of your personal and professional work, but actually you first have to write down all the tasks, and then you need to define, you need to label it. That's your personal task or your professional task, right? And then you actually need to give it some time when you will do that work, right? And second last is review your list regularly, right? So whatever the to-do list you have, you need to review regularly. Regularly is actually periodical. You can do it daily basis. You should do it actually daily basis, right? Means in the morning you need to decide, or the last night you should have planned what you are going to do tomorrow. For example, as I'm here presenting some techniques about GTD, so last night I have planned that this day I have this presentation, right? And the presentation was already ready there, already shared with the team, right? So I was stress free. I was not in a tension. I was not in a stress that, oh, I have a presentation, what I'll be doing there. No, I have already planned something, right? So you can have any periodical, right? But the daily is daily. You need to review the list what you are going to do today, right? And at the end of every week you must see what have you done the whole week. I mean, you have, for example, hundreds of tasks in your list, so you need to cross down if it's done, you need to cross down if it's done, right? And you need to see how many action items, how many tasks are pending, and then you need to write down again for the next week, right? Prioritize your task based on their importance and urgency. This is a very important word. The one is importance and the one is urgency. And it differs from person to person. It is actually related to your goal, what you want to do in your life, right? So, one thing is important for you, and the same thing may not be important for someone else. For example, so a live cricket match is there, and it may be important for one person, and it is 100% useless for another person at the same time. How? Because it depends on the goals, it depends on the objective of your life. For example, you want to become a cricketer. If you want to become a cricketer, so a live cricket match is very important for you, right? Because you will learn the techniques from there. But if you have some other plans, for example, you want to establish a business, for example, you want to enjoy a good position in your organization, so at the very same time, cricket a live cricket match is of no use for you. You should focus on your defined roles, right? So the word importance, right, it actually related, it's connected with the objective you have, with the goal you have in your life. And what is urgent, or the urgency, it's actually connected with the time. For example, something is happening right now, so that's urgent. For example, as I said, a live match, if you don't watch it live, it will not be live. Then you can of course watch it a highlight or a recording, right? But you will not be enjoying that moment. So urgency is what, if you can't do that work, it will not be done in the future. That is urgency. So these are the general basic steps, right, of using the technique of getting things done. And here, if I repeat, the first one is write down all the tasks, process what you have captured into. And third one is organize your task in categories such as work or professional, personal. Review your list regularly, prioritize your task based on their importance and urgency, right? So this is a general steps. And now I must explain, by following these steps you can use the GTD technique to become more productive, reduce stress, and improve your focus and clarity. And you need to uh, jot down all the steps. You will have 6 steps here. So step number 1 is capture, right? So why we are saying it capture, you need to be synchronized with other professionals in the industry, right? Means whenever we say capture, so you should all know what is the meaning of capture. Collect all your ideas, tasks, and projects into a central system. This could be a notebook, a digital app, or a combination of both. So what is the objective? The objective is you need to collect all your ideas, all your tasks into a central system. What is that central system? It can be anything. As I just showed you, it could be a notebook, a digital app. You can have many apps through either it's a Google app or from iPhone. You can have many app for the to-do list for this GTD technique, or you can use both of them, and a notebook and a combination of both. So what is step number 1? Step number 1 is you need to collect all your ideas and tasks and projects into a central system. You must write down all the tasks into one central system, right? And what is step number 2? Clarify. Process your collected items one by one, right? So what have you written in step number 1, right? That is captured. You have written all the tasks there. And now what you need to do, you need to process your collected items one by one and decide what to do with each of them, right? For example, you have a task, so you need to ask a question. What is the question? Is it actionable? If it is an actionable task, it will have a separate lead or flow. If it's not actionable, you can either delete it or file it away for reference, right? If it is actionable, decide what the next action is and write down. So step number 1 is you need to write down all the tasks. Step number 2 is like a tree, you need to have a question. Is it actionable or not? If it's not an actionable item, so you will have 3 other questions, like you need to delete it, you need to file it, or it may have an action in the future. If it is actionable, decide what the next action is and write down, right? So this is step number 2. And what's step number 3? Organization. Organize your next actions into context, such as at home, at work, errands, or calls. This will help you tackle your task more efficiently, right? You have written down, for example, this is an actionable item, and after that actionable item, you need to define the subcategory of that action, right? And I will give you some more techniques later. So step number 4 is review. Review your system regularly, ideally once a week. You must review once a week to ensure that your tasks and projects are up to date and that you are focusing on your most important priorities, right? Very important word is most important priorities. Sometimes you will see people are very busy in doing something, right? But it's not necessary they are very productive. They are engaged in many activities, right? They are busy from morning till night. But what is the result? They are not productive. They are not giving time to the important ones. They are busy just for the sake of busy. They are just wasting their times, right? They are doing unproductive activities. So you don't need to work 16 hours, 17 hours in an organization. It happens when you do not plan your work, when you do not prioritize, when you do not review, or when you do not say no to anyone. It's really an art. Learning saying no is an art. For example, you are like this is my time for Pakistan time, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. that I am engaged in this presentation, right? If somebody comes to me and ask a question, and if I start uh, conversation with that person, so what will happen? I will not be giving focus to this, right? And I will be engaged in an unproductive item unless and until there is any emergency. That has some exception, right? So I must say no, I'm sorry, I have committed my time to this webinar, so I'll be busy, I will be giving 100% focus, I'll be stress free. Or I can give a later time that we can talk after 1 hour or 2 hour, or I must see my calendar as well, right? So the step number 4 is review your system regularly, ideally once a week, to ensure that your tasks and projects are up to date. Number 5, step number 5, right? Finally, do the task on your list. Now you need to do the task, of course. Just writing a task is not enough. You must do the task, right? Starting with the most important and time sensitive ones, right? Which is most important, and time sensitive means urgent. If it's not done now, it cannot be done. For example, um, you are doing for a task which has a deadline. For example, as this you are going to live, you are making some changes in your website which is going to be live on 17th of April, right? And this is 16th of April, so now it's time sensitive. It must have been ready, the UA or UAT and QA must have been done there, right? So use your organized context to group similar tasks and reduce the time and effort required to complete them. Right. For example, if you have something similar task, the category is similar, so you can do at the same time. I mean, in the simultaneously, right, one by one. Uh, Doing one task at 1 o'clock and one task. For example, you are going to give a project of interior design to a company, right? So you are going to meet with 4 teams, 4 externals, four interior designers. So what should you should do? You should plan. You can plan in one day. For example, 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, with the gap of 15 minutes, with the buffer of 15 minutes. It will help you make a good decision. You will have in the memory, you will have written down, right? And you can decide very easily which company you should go with, right? So what is the step number 6? Here we have the complete process. This is the most important slide of this presentation. This is actually extracted from the book of David Allen, that is getting things done, right? So this is actually the summary of the whole presentation: processing and organizing, right? So the stuff, what is a stuff? That is actually the list of items you have. So I'm sure you can see the cursor. You must list down that is actually the step number one, all the tasks, right? In where? In any to-do list, right? Whether it's your personal task, whether it's your professional task, you must write down all the tasks in your to-do list. And then you should ask a question to yourself: what is it, right? Is it actionable or not? For example, if it's not an actionable item, right, so you need to see uh, what should be done with that item. For example, you are in an organization and you received a letter from the government authority that we have changed some policies. Government has changed some, for example, tax policies, right? So you will have to see, is it actionable, right? Of course it's actionable, right? And if you get a task which is not an actionable item, so what you will do, you may eliminate, you may trash it, you may discard it, right? Or you may incubate it, but someday, maybe, right? Lists or folders, or for the reference paper, digital list or folders, you can file it for in any folder, right? So if it is not actionable, you can perform any of the three tasks, right? And if it's actionable, right, so what's the next action? You need to ask a question. If it's a complete project, it's a multi-step, what's the successful outcome that you need to register as a project in the PMO office or the project management office, right? But that will also be connected with the same system, with the same GTD technique. For example, this is actionable, so what is the next action? If it is less than of 2 minutes only, it will take less than 2 minutes, so you should not defer it, you should not delay it, do it at the same time and get it done. If it will take less than 2 minutes, right? Or you may need to delegate it to someone. For example, you have a subordinate where you have delegated that you should do that, right? And then you will be in a waiting for folder. So you have one folder that is waiting for, actually, these are the tasks that you have assigned to someone, right? So coming back, what's the next action? If it's of less than 2 minutes, do it. Or you should see if you can delegate it to someone, or defer it. Defer it means you will be doing yourself, but not at that time. Maybe it's a 2 day work, it's a 4 day work, it's 2 hours work, right? So for me to do is specific to a day or time. So what to do? You must give it a time to your calendar. You must give a time to your calendar, right? Or for example, to do as soon as I can. And here we have, coming back, the project, you can see that's an actionable, it's a project, right? It's a planning, project plans, review actions, right? And then goes back to the next section. So even if you have a project, for example, you have a project, so you need to define the milestones, right? For example, you have 3 different milestones, so each milestone will have a set of action items. So you need to write down all the action items and then ask the same question, right? What's the next section? So the key here, you should ask a question against each item. What is the next action? For example, you are going to make a change of your bank account, for example, right? So this is a complete task. For example, you have got your bank account changed, right? It's done, but you must ask what's the next action. So the next action is you need to inform to some authorities. You need to inform maybe to your customers or some other. You need to list down all that task, right? And then you should ask the same question. So it's a complete GTD technique. I'm almost done. I have few more slides to present to you, but this is actually the most important slide, which is actually the crux of the whole presentation. So I must repeat. Step number one, you need to list down all your tasks, whether your personal or your professional task, right? Step number two, ask a question to that task or yourself. Is it actionable or not? If it's not actionable, right, you may need to delete it. You may need to incubate it or for the future reference. If it's actionable, you should ask what's the next action and follow the process as explained in this process flow, right? Some tools that you can use to GTD: Ntask, Todoist, Evernote, Trello, Notion, and many other uh, tools are available on the internet, right? So these are some of the tools, right? I've been using Trello, so you can use any of them. It's not anything, but there are many tools. If you want to use that tool, you can use it, or you can do it yourself as well. So your work is to discover your work, right? The statement is your work is to discover your work. So very important, you need to discover what your work is, and then with all your heart give yourself to it, right? For example, you have identified what is your work, and when you are doing that work, you should do it with all your heart, with all your heart, with all your potential, with all your focus, with all your mind, with all your concentration, right? So the important thing is you need to discover your work, right? And here is a matrix of self management. It's very important. It has a complete separate presentation, but just to give you a flavor, I've written it down here so you can google it, you can learn more. You have two different, for example, axes. The one is console and the one is perspective, right? So the control, and for example, you have four different quadrants, right? If you have lesser control and you have a lesser perspective, you are going to be the victim or the responder only. You will be asked multiple questions. Everybody is gonna maybe blame you, right? You will be held responsible for many things. If you do not have control, for example, in the professional life, if you do not have control on your task, right? So it will get delayed, and people will ask you, people will held you responsible that because of you this task is not done in time, right? And you do not have the bigger perspective, right? So you are going to be the victim. And what if you have a very good control? You have control of every task, you have control of everything, but you do not have a bigger perspective, but you do not know why you are doing this, so you will be doing micromanagement. You will only be uh, a part of a process. You will only be an implementer. And if you have a bigger perspective but not in control, but you do not have control of the task, so what will happen? You are a visionary person, but unfortunately you do not have control. You have lots of items, right, to do, but unfortunately you do not have control, so you will become actually a crazy maker, of course. So these are the terms that industry use that you should be familiar with. And the most important, if you have a good control and you have a wide perspective, so you are going to be the captain and commander. So what is the metrics of self-management here? Connected with the getting things done, that you should have a control of the task. At the very same time, you should have a bigger perspective. For example, if you have been assigned one task, right? So you will have to break down in the smaller parts, but at the very same time you must ask the management the bigger objective of that task, so that will be connected with some uh, organizational objective. And if you have a bigger perspective and you have control of the task, so you are going to be the captain and commander, right? I will share you three key rules, right, before concluding the webinar. Three key rules that I mean to sum up to make it very easy for you. Rule number one is capture your thinking, right? What is capture your thinking? Again and again I'm telling you, to do list. You need to write down all the tasks you have in your mind. You need to bring it from mind to the paper, or to an app, or to a slide, or anywhere. But you should not keep it in mind only. It will keep you it will give you stress. You should capture your thinking. You should write down all the tasks. So this is step number one. Number two, or the rule number two, is make your outcome or action decisions. What do you mean by decisions? You have written all the tasks, correct? So you need to ask, you need to write down the next actions, and you need to decide it. If it has only, it will require only 2 minutes, then you should do it at the same time. If it will need more than 2 minutes, if you'll need 2 hours or 4 hours or 5 hours, then you should give it a specific time to your calendar. So here is actually the connection between your to-do list and your calendar. Your to-do list must be connected with your calendar, correct? And rule number three is use the right maps. What do we mean by right maps? Right maps, actually, we mean the process flow. The right maps, we mean the process flow. I mean, if that task is done, what are the other action items that are drive through that task? So you need to draw a map, like you have seen in the previous slide, or the process flow, the getting things done technique. So the three rule, I must tell you, you have three key rules. Rule number one, capture your thinking. And now I'm almost closing my webinar. So key rule, capture your thinking, right? Rule number two, make outcome or action decisions. Rule number three, use the right maps. You need to use the right maps. And what is that right maps? It actually differs from tasks to task, projects to projects, but it will be applicable in everywhere, whether it's your personal task or your professional task, right? So that's the end of my webinar. I hope you must have got the learning, you must have understood the getting things done technique. I believe if you apply these technique, you will be stress free, you will be more productive, right? You will have more free time, I must tell you, right? To the closing note, I must you must have experienced that many people who are very busy, who are very engaged, they do not have a single time, even at the time of having some lunch, they are busy on the phone calls, or they are busy in the meetings. But trust me, they are not very productive, because they do not have the skill to manage their time. They do not know how to manage their time, how to prioritize their time, how to give a time to any task. These people are very busy, but they are not very productive. In order to be productive, you don't need to be very much busy. You must have experience as the C level, I mean the CEO, right? Or COO, or any other C level person. They will have free time. They have time to walk, they have time to their food, right? They have time to meet with their family or friends. Why? Because they know how to manage their time. They actually uh, make the list. They make the to-do list, right? They define their task, give it a specific time, and then do that task on that time only. They do not have pressure every time in their mind, right? Thank you so much. I hope you have got the learning. Now moving back to the studio, Yarnes, it's over to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful presentation, which can impact our knowledge seeker surely. Sir, I hope our knowledge seeker can learn something new, which is our online intention, learn and grow together as a knowledge seekers. Once again, thank you so much, sir. Now, sir, it's time for our question answer session, which is one more valuable part of our regular webinars. Our sir, please stay with us. After a short video, we'll be back in our session part two, which is our question answer part. Okay, sir?
Thank you.
Thank you. Once, dear IGP speaker, please ask your question in the comment box as much as you want to know from our speaker. Thank you. After question answer, we have a certification and online quiz competition. After a short video, we'll be back. So please stay with us and enjoy our question answer session. Once again, welcome back, everyone. It's time for our question answer session. Where I if you have any question, you can ask in our comment box as as much as you want to know from our speaker. Let's welcome back our speaker. Once again, welcome back, sir.
Thank you.
So, first question is our first question from Asia. Which tools do we use for planning to do lists?
Yeah, Isaiah. There are many tools, available on the internet that you can use for the to-do list. As I said, if you notice in my presentation, one of them is Trello. You can use the Trello tool, right? And you may have many tools if you just Google it on the to-do list, right? Or the tools for to-do, right? So you will have a list of tools on the internet, and they are free of cost. They do not charge anything, right? And 90% of them are free. Some of them are paid tools. So at the moment, at the initial level, you don't need to go for the paid tools. So you can go to the free tools available on the internet, right? So you can use Asana, or you can use Trello, and many tools are available on the internet. You can use any of them. That doesn't make any difference, right? But the main thing is you need to follow the steps that I explained, right? So what are the steps that you need to list down all the items. Whatever the tools you have, it will not give you a major difference actually. The major difference is how you are using that tool, right? You have listed down all the action items, and then you need to ask what are the next actions. So it's very simple, you can just Google it. I don't need to refer to anyone, but you can use any of them.
Thank you, sir. Then next question from Flamir Agal Sarveja. Hello everyone. Good day, sir Asivaji. What are some ways to stop procrastination and get things done?
Yeah. So what's your name actually? Yeah, Flomi. There are different ways for the procrastination and getting things done, and fortunately, the process is very same, right? And it's very simple. Many people are engaged in many other activities. They have lots of items to do. They are a very visionary person, right? They have many ideas in their minds, but you will see most of the times they do not have any executed items. They do not have any a successful item in their life. They have not, unfortunately, completed any project or any successful business. So why is like that? Because they do not have control over the task. So for through this getting things done technique, what you can do, you have thousands of items, thousand of ideas in your mind, Flubby, for example, right? So that doesn't mean actually you are a very genius person. Trust me, I'm very sorry to say. But what is that? Actually, you need to list down all the items, right? You have many ideas, but you do not have any executed items, right? Your ideas will not be counted actually in your life or as a success or a badge or a certificate for you. So what will be a success? The success, what idea you have completed or executed, right? For example, you have an idea that you want to manufacture uh, a motorcycle that run through water instead of fuel or petrol, right? You have an idea, but can you really execute it? So you need to follow the process. You need to follow the getting things done technique. You need to list down all the idea. This is your one idea, right? And you need to see what are the next actions. Can you really implement it? If you really implement it, that will be done actually. So the ways to stop procrastination is actually you need to make it simplify. The simpler you have, the more executed or the more result oriented you will be. So you need to follow the very simple key rule that I explained in the video, right? Capture all the tasks you have. Number two, define next actions, right? And number three, then, for example, you need to review it at least once a week. You must review what have you done the whole week, and you must plan for the next week. So through these simple technique, you can stop procrastination, and you can follow these getting things done. It's very simple. Trust me, Flomi. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your answer. Sir, I think there is no more question.
That's good.
Once again,
Means
thank you
I've
so much.
explained everything.
Yes. Once again, thank you so much, Honorable Sir, for your time.
Thank you.
We have learned a lot from you in your topic. It will add some value to our day-to-day activity along with our academic and professional growth. Honorable Sir, hope to see you again with a new topic and a new date. Thank you, sir, and take care.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Dear IGP Knowledge Seeker, today are some technical problem we cannot share on certificate code. We provide our certificate code in a short time. Thank you. Dear IGP Knowledge Seeker, today are some technical problem we cannot share our certificate code. We provide our certificate code in a short time. Thank you. Yeah, IGP knowledge seeker. Now it's time for most engaging part, which is our quiz competition. To join our quiz session, you have to follow my instruction carefully. First, you have to go www.slido.com, then find today's quiz or scan this QR code for direct joining and code is global IGP. After a short video, we'll be back and vi- stay with us and enjoy our quiz competition. And don't forget to mention your friends to join our quiz. Once again, welcome back everyone. It's time for our quiz session. To join our quiz session, you have to follow my instruction carefully. First, you have to go www.styling.com. Then you have to enter the code, and the code is global IGP, and the code is global IGP. It is easy to join quiz part, so mention your friends to join our quiz session. We will pick your name from Slido, so join with your full name, which will directly print on certificate. And top 10 will be awarded with quiz completion certificate. Already 17 people joined with us. We are still waiting for your joining, so please everyone join our quiz session as soon as possible. After 3 minutes later, we will go start. We will go for to run our quiz session. So please everyone join. Now we're going to start our quiz competition. Let's start. First question: the Pomodoro technique for getting things done alternates 25 minutes periods of work with easy option 1 2-hour long work period. Second option is short breaks. Correct answer is option 2. 36% were are right. Working on too much in turn not getting things done. Easy option 1. Procrastination and second option put things off. Now next question is getting things done is option word one David in color, second option is Athenian in literature. Well, the correct answer is option one, and 72% people are right. Getting things done is the option A strategy, and second option is productive. And the correct answer is productive, and 59% will are right. The next question. Grammar, getting things done. Is it option she had Edward cut her hair? Second option, he got Edward cut it her hair. Now we are going to see your correct answer, and the correct answer is option 1. Next. Vocabulary, getting things done. Is it option explain? Second option is plan. And the correct answer is 10 and 50% were right. Next question. Doing getting things done, is it feeling or second option is okay? The correct answer is acting, and 100% people are right. The next, getting things done signify, is it option utilizer can novel or the marketing? Second option fair on short the quiz last stitch. The correct answer is option 2. And ninth one question. Management is not about just getting things done, but getting dash things done. Is it right or important? The correct answer is right. 73% people are right. Our last and final question is, art of getting things done, is it option management or second option is motivation? And the correct answer is motivation. Motivation Hudai Jaifa Hussein, the two second option in second position Kia for River, in third position is Ponchi, in fourth position we have Jonathan, in fifth position we have Jamalian. Congratulations, our top 10 this competition winner. We have all of the names which you entered during joining. We'll pick your name from slide and prepare certificate and we'll post them on our Facebook official page and group. Our Facebook official and page and group name is Institute of Global Professional. At the moment of our session, you can say properly feel your skill, never stop learning. First life never stop teaching us. Be happy and stay safe. We want your participation in our AP program. If you want to live a happy life, try to goal, not the people or things Albert Einstein. Before I say or hit the end live button again, wants to thanks all IGP knowledge seekers for your active participation as always. Thank you so much everyone. Take care. See you.